Hey there, hacker friends. In today's video, we are cracking the code on Recon, the most important weapon in a hacker's toolkit. Deep reconnaissance enables us to uncover an extensive list of assets owned by our target, including those potentially not in active production. This comprehensive insight often reveals less secured, under-monitored systems with by presenting us with opportunities for exploitation that might otherwise remain hidden. So let's get started. First thing that we should do is research online to find the domains owned by our target. For this, we can use whois lookups, reverse whois lookups, also use websites like domain tools or whois XML, which provide this types of functionality. Again, we can use search engines, domain research tools, etc. We can also find other domains that are owned by the same organizations from their social media, official websites, and online encyclopedias like Wikipedia, also a business intelligence website. Also, we can try to see what other brands are owned by the same organization. For today's video, we will be using owasp.org as our target. For video purposes, I will be using only one single domain, but you should do your own research and find all the domains. And the same process for one domain that we are going to perform today should be done for all the domains that you discover for your target. So let's assume that the first step is complete. It is time to start the recon on the domain names to map the infrastructure of the organization that is exposed to the internet. For this, we will be using Maltego Community Edition, which is available in Kali Linux by default. So this is how you can find Maltego in Kali Linux. So Maltego is a powerful interactive data mining tool. It provides a visual platform for exploring relationships and patterns in a complex networks of data, such as social relationships, network infrastructure, online service online service affiliations, making it a valuable tool for security analysts and investigators. For the first time, when you try to access Maltego in Kali Linux, you will require to run the installer and register yourself on the website to use Maltego. Once done, you can open it up and sign in with the account that you have registered, and you should see a screen similar to this one that we are seeing right now. Okay, so let's start by adding entities that we have already. Okay, so the first entity that we have is the domain name. Again, you can search here according to whatever entity you have. The one that we have right now is the domain name. So if we search here, we can find the domain and just drag and drop. Here we will add the domain that we have. It is owasp.org. And the first thing that we are going to do is try to see the website that they are using. To do that, we can use the transforms that are available in Maltego. So Maltego has a range of different transforms, and we will be looking at the ones that are very useful for us to map the network infrastructure. starting with the website. So here we can click on run, and the transform has completed, and here we have the website. So once we have discovered the website, we should also look for any tracking codes that the website might have. Tracking codes are used by organizations to provide analytics for its web domains. So if you find that two or more domains are using same tracking codes, it can be inferred that both the domains are owned by the same organizations. To find the tracking codes, what we can do here is right click and tracking codes. Again, if we run this, we should see that we have a tracking code over here. What we can do with this is find similar other sites which are having the same tracking code. I believe that transform is a paid uh, that is only available in the paid version of Maltego. But nevertheless, what you can do is you can search for any websites which can help you with the tracking codes to identify which all websites are using the same tracking codes. So some of them that I can remember are Risk IQ, sites like Risk IQ, Spy on Web, etc. Okay, coming back to our domain. So what we will do now is we will try to enumerate all the name servers and the mail servers of the domain. To do that, we can simply type mx mail servers and run this transform. Here we see the mail servers. From this we can infer that it is probably using Google Mail. Or the mail servers are owned by Google. It is possible that they are using a different software, but the infrastructure is probably provided by Google itself. Again, we will look for the name servers here. Okay. So this can tell us information about the mail service that the organization is using. It could be like Office 365, Amazon, Google Workspaces, etc. As our transform is complete, we have the name servers which are being provided by Cloudflare. Based on this, based on this information, we can also have an idea about the provider that we should look for other services that the organization might be using. So next step that we are going to do is DNS enumeration. In this step, we will be discovering additional DNS servers and new domains or subdomains from the DNS servers. To do that, we will use this transform here to find common DNS names. Here we have find common DNS names. Again, we have to domain DNS, to DNS names from security trails. Again, we have interesting DNS names. Again, you have a lot of others as well that you can run to see if more data you can accumulate. Also, we can use this website that we discovered to further find more information about the DNS. To DNS name, enumerate host names numerically. This will enumerate host names numerically or alphabetically or however we configure it as we would want to enumerate. So here we will go with the default options that are provided. And it will show us any more domains or domain names that it discovers using this technique. Now let's get the IP addresses from the DNS names of the website using to IP address DNS transform. Here we are selecting all the DNS names that we have found. We can use the name servers as well to find more IPs. Here we have two IP addresses transform. As you can see here, we have got a large number of IP addresses as well to work with. Now that we have more associated IPs, we will try to get new DNS names on the same IP addresses. This will allow us to discover more services and websites that are being hosted on the same IP addresses. Let's select all, select the IP addresses, and to DNS name, reverse DNS. Again, you can use from passive DNS security trails as well. You can try different transforms to find more information. While doing so, you should also have a look at what are the names that it is coming up with. So again, I can see here OWASP, this is something different, this is something different. What I normally try to do is, if the uh, assets that I find are not being, I feel are not being owned by the same organizations, or I will again confirm on the internet or from other sources like who is the owner of these websites, and if I can confirm that these do not belong to our target organizations, I will just delete those assets because we don't need them to add garbage in our map in the graph itself, and we are able to accurately identify the assets. As you can see, these are some CloudFront servers. I don't think we need them. Yeah. Okay. So we'll get rid of these for once. All right. These look like OWASP itself. So I think we need this. Yes. All right. Now that we have the IP addresses, we will try to identify the net blocks in use by the organization to host their websites and services. Here, we will select all IP addresses and resolve them to net blocks using the routing info to get accurate information on the net blocks we would like to work on in our further steps. To do that, here again we will select all the assets in the in the graph, select all the IP addresses, and get to the net blocks of this using the routing info transform. Okay. All right. So working with this type of graph in a situation like this, I find it very difficult. In Maltego, we have different types of graphs available to work on as per the scenario. So I think using this layout mode to circular is much better to work in this type of situation. All right. So now in this step, we will select all the net blocks that we have for the IP address that we discovered and look for the AS numbers of these net blocks. Before we do that, let's try to understand what are AS numbers and why are we getting to them. So AS numbers or autonomous system numbers are unique identifiers assigned to each autonomous system on the internet, known as AS. An autonomous system is a collection of IP networks and routers under the control of one or more network operators that presents a common routing policy to the internet. This operator we talk about could be the organization that we are trying to recon, and all the infrastructure under the AS number could possibly be used by the organization. Further, if we dig deeper in the network of the AS number, we could find a lot more information about the organization and all the third party services as well that they are using with more confidence that they all belong to the same organizations. Many times organizations will use email addresses of not the same domain to register the AS numbers, which will make it harder for attackers to identify a specific network belonging to the organization. Using the methodology that we are doing right now, we can still identify this information. So let's again select all, then select all the net blocks that we have found and transform to AS numbers. Great. So in a graph, AS numbers look something like this, and all the net blocks, as you can see here, are having connections with the AS number. So all these blue net blocks that you see in this circle are connected to this AS number. Again, all the net blocks in this circular region belong to this AS number. Again, we have found one more, this one. It is very much possible that these three AS numbers, these three circular regions in the graph, belong to different regions and might have different services hosted on them. Companies will also be multinational and will have different services and networks in different parts of the world, hosting different services as per the locations. Using this method, we can identify all of this information systematically and accurately. Now that we have identified the AS numbers, we will go ahead and dig deeper into the network by enumerating the net blocks under each of the AS numbers to further enumerate the net blocks again to discover hosts, services, and websites in those net blocks. So as of now, we have found these net blocks, these AS numbers having a large number of net blocks in these in the same under the same AS number owned by our target. So what we will do is again select all, and we will go to the AS numbers. So these are the AS numbers and discover net blocks. in this AS. Running the transform, you can see we have discovered a lot more number of net blocks for each of the AS number. So these are all the newly discovered net blocks that we have found. Okay. So these are all the newly discovered net blocks. Okay. A lot of times it happens that organizations will not own the entire ASN or net block completely, but only one or two IPs from them. To identify this kind of situation, we have to manually assess the data that we are enumerating and delete the nodes that are probably not belonging to our target. I would recommend doing this after running each and every transform in each step, so we are not gathering unnecessary garbage in our data, and only we can keep useful and accurate information. Now we will try to find websites hosted in these DNS names and look at the services that they are hosting. To do that, we will select all again and go to net blocks. So here are the net blocks. We will have to find all the domain names associated with these net blocks. So here you can run this one to DNS names in net blocks. Again, we can run only 50 entities. No worries. Okay, we can configure it, but as of now, let's try to work with what we can. In this step, what we will be doing is, what we got is additional new DNS names from all these new net blocks that we have discovered. You see, these are the new DNS names that we have discovered. You can see a lot of them are highly not belonging to OWASP, like let's say Greek wire, tiny URL. So what we can do is we can just select these and delete. So we keep on doing this process to remove the unnecessary data, but lot of times it will be happening that you discover new domains or new subdomains or new services for the same organization. So now that we have found the new domain names, we will again select them all and select all the new domain names. Here I will try to keep up till OWASP. So below are the ones I think do not belong to OWASP. But again, I will verify each one before removing them from my graph. So selecting all these OWASP ones, I will right click and try to find if any of these are hosting any websites. Here we have two websites using query to ports. Okay, I think we have discovered some more new websites again. As you can see here, we have found a lot more new websites which we were previously not having any information about. Again, here we have some more here as well. And as we discussed previously, we can again run different transforms on these websites and newly uh, discovered domain names, DNS entries, and we can keep doing this above process or this process that we discussed right now over and over again on newly discovered assets to further expand our information and cover more information about our target. We will be running the same steps like uh, finding new DNS entries, new IP addresses, new net blocks, and new ASN numbers. While doing so, always keep in mind to remove all the unnecessary nodes and assets from our graphs to keep the graphs as clean, accurate, and informative as possible, so that when you are working on these graphs, you are not overwhelmed with all the information that is there, and you are able to understand it easily, and only you are viewing the information that is belonging to our target. So I think we have covered good enough recon for today for external infrastructure for an organization, and that will be all for today, guys. Hope this video helps improve your recon skills. Please leave any suggestions or questions or any more information that could be added to what we have already discussed today in the comment section. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.